on Monday, March 16th, 2020 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers at 301 South 5th Street will now come to order. Please rise for invocation by Pastor Vernon Curry, Highland Drive Church of Christ, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mr. Curry here.
Mr. Black, would you?
Yes, I'll be glad to. It's about ready. Father, we thank you for the privilege of living where we live in a good community. And thank you for public assembly, and we ask your direction upon it and your blessings on each of us. We certainly want to remember the illness and the virus that is around our country today, and be with all those that have it and are enduring it, but especially with those who are working so closely and hard to be able to have it. Direct them, I ask. Amen.
Amen. Please join us. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Clerk Young.
Councilwoman Parson. Here. Councilman DeGaris.
Here.
Councilwoman Horton.
Here.
Councilman Cornman.
Here.
Councilman Black.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Here.
Mayor Smith.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Clerk Young, and thank you, Councilman Black. At this time, we will present a proclamation to Mrs. Judy Cantoni from the U.S. Census Bureau. Is she here? Whereas the City Council of the City of Poplar, Bluff, Missouri is always pleased to recognize those events which bring credit upon the community, and whereas an accurate census count is vital to our community and the residents. Well-being help planners determine where to locate schools, daycare centers, roads, public transportation, hospitals, and other facilities, and is used to make decisions concerning business growth and housing needs. More than $300 billion per year in federal and state funding is allocated to states and communities based on census data. Census data ensures fair congressional representation by determining how many seats each state will have in the U.S. House of Representatives, as well as the redistricting of the state legislatures, county, and city councils, and voting districts. And the 2020 census creates jobs, stimulates economic growth, and increase employment opportunities in our community. And the information collected by census is protected by law and remains confidential for 72 years. Now therefore, the City Council of the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri proclaims April 1st, 2020 as Census Day. April 20th is observed nationwide as Census Day. Every household should have received an invitation to participate in the 2020 U.S. Census by April 1st. All households are asked to respond to the invitation online, by phone, or by mail, where you live as of April 20th. Proclaimed this 16th day of March 2020 by the Honorable Robert L. Smith, Mayor of the State of Poplar, Missouri.
But no, we're not supposed to check.
That's hard to do. That's hard to do.
Ready? Thank you. Thank you.
There's one more here.
Another one. One more.
I would just like to thank you all on behalf of the Governor's Office and the Complete Count Committee for the State of Missouri. We appreciate your leadership in directing the citizens of the Poplar Bluff area and the Poplar Bluff community in completing this. We know how important it is for our local tax dollars, both at the state level and the federal level. And as you all know, as a city in the state of Missouri, in 2010 we lost a congressional district as a result of a low count in the census. So with the onset of the very busy schedules that folks have been under with reference to the coronavirus, I think that if we're all quarantined at home, we should find enough time to be able to go online and complete our census for 2020, right? Of course, if you have any questions or if we can be of assistance, we certainly want to do that. And Matt knows how to get in touch with me and several other individuals. So we appreciate so much your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6, disclosure of interest. Any member of the City Council may disclose any possible conflict of interest dealing either with any item on the printed agenda or with any matter discussed at a previous meeting. Hearing none. Item 7, citizens' input. Each person in the audience may take this opportunity to address the City Council on any matter which is not on the printed agenda. And first I have Rhonda and Jerry Hillis. Please state your name and your address, please.
Rhonda Hillis, and my address is 366 College and also 367 College. One is our business and the other is our home.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council for listening to my issue. I'm here tonight because I'm looking for solutions to how we can work together and have a safer community, especially working in our neighborhood. We've had a problem since before November with a house behind us. I have over 190 pictures of my phone, on my phone of cars going in and out all day and night, pull up, honk in the middle of the night, and somebody comes out, they get curb service like Sonic and drive off. And it's anywhere, usually I get woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and this lasts till 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Fights in the backyard, people on our doorstep. 3 times they've knocked on our door, twice after 9 o'clock at night asking for aluminum foil. I've spoken with the police chief and he's been very kind. I've given pictures and I've given license plate numbers and descriptions of cars, and they have come and checked the house 3 times, which only resulted in 1 arrest at that time. But in having this conversation, there's only our house that is occupied, the house that we're having the problem with, and then there's a house on the back side of the alley. Our house is the one directly across from our funeral home, the brick house. Then the house behind us faces Lindsay. That's the only one that's occupied till you get to the other side of the parking lot that we share with the Episcopal Church. The neighbor back there has also been threatened when walking his dog at 5:30 in the morning, and it's gotten very scary. So with that said, other than myself, my husband, Dick and his wife, and Barbara, it's pretty confined to our area, but it's all hours of the day and night. I mean, I've gone outside to get wood out from under, out on our back porch for the fireplace, and a guy crawls out from under the porch and scares the crap out of me. I can't park my car in my driveway anymore because every time I go out, they're asking me, can you borrow me $20? You got any cigarettes? Can you give me a ride? Every time our friends came to visit us, they were bombarded by questions as soon as they pulled in our driveway. What you doing? Where you going? Can you give me a ride somewhere? You got $5 I can borrow? Unless you are living in it, you have no idea. And like I said, our police chief has been very kind. He's listened. I've texted he and one of his officers numerous times. I've got given, I think it was 5 or 6 pages just of information. So, to say, this is the problem. My question is, how are we going to make our community safer again? I understand that with all of the shootings and the crimes that we've had going on in our city, it's very difficult for our police force to respond in a timely manner. We ask, because I'm taking pictures out my bathroom window and my kitchen window and my bedroom window, which, by the way, I open a blind and see a man staring at me doing this number. They've been on our back porch to set off our security light in the middle of the night. It's bad. I'm telling you, it is very threatening. So my question was, can the city not put up a camera? Can they not do something? And I understand we don't have a camera available to do that. So we need to look at more patrol, more cameras, more support of our police enforcement. I don't want to get into a big argument about how much money we're going to spend on a new police station or anything. I'm just saying the first priority, shouldn't that be the safety and well-being of our citizens in Poplar Bluff? I mean, you can Google it and look. We have one of the highest crime rates for a town of our size in the state, in the country. We are in the top 50 of the country. And it's not because we don't have good people, so what's the problem? Why am my family, there's over 7 generations of my family buried here, been here my whole life, so's my husband. We've owned this property for over 30 years. Mr. Dick and his wife that live on the other side have lived in their house for over 40 years on the back side of us, and he's scared to walk his dog. He carries a .38 to walk his dog, and I carry a gun to go out and get wood off my back porch. Now, how ridiculous is this? So, what can we do as a community to make people feel safe? We watch Barb go in and out. We say, call us, text us, so we can watch her get in and out of the building. And how many times, I mean, she can tell you how many times they've approached her at her car after dark. It's not safe. Our community is not safe. It was, 3-4 days ago that my car alarm goes off, which I now park at the funeral home under the cameras. I go out to see what's going on with my car alarm. By the time I get back up my front porch, there's a woman and a man fighting in the edge of my yard. Then she's sitting up on my front porch. Jerry comes out to the window and we ask her, are you okay? Do you need help? What's your problem? I mean, it's an all-out war, which is not as bad as the fight where we got to see like women's WWF wrestling in the backyard about a week ago. It's crazy. And if we do call the police, which, like I said, they're aware there's a problem, they have so many other things going on and don't have enough officers. It's taken 45 minutes, and the last time we waited an hour and nobody showed up, or time before last. So what can we do to be safe in our home? I mean, how can the city council help us? And it's not just us. I mean, it's going on all over town. We were at Myrtle's having a conversation, and one of the people there said, I'm scared to call the police because they'll know it's me, and then there'll be retaliation. We've had the same thought, but when they catch my phone flashing, my camera flashing when I take pictures, they know it's me. So now we've had some strange incidents happening, but we don't know what else to do and where to turn. And like I said, I'm not complaining about the police at all, because Chief Whiteley has communicated with us. They've gone into the house 3 times. You know, it only ended with 1 arrest. I don't know what the extent of the search or search warrants were. But, and I'm not talking, I mean, I can show anybody. I've got over 190 pictures that I have taken in the daytime. And this is just if I go to the bathroom, I'm doing my dishes in the kitchen. I don't sit there and do surveillance. It'll be so loud, we have to turn our television up to keep the thumping music and the fights and the chaos out of our back door. And I can't take pictures at night. We're talking $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 vehicles coming in day and night. New Lexus SUVs, new Cadillacs, new Denali's, pickup trucks, vans. It's crazy. With some with out-of-state license plates. Most of them are Missouri. But, and I can't tell you how bad the situation is unless I mean, there's no way. It's worse than an episode of Cops. So what can we do to protect our citizens, and how can we as citizens help our police force and help the city council keep our town safe? So that's my question.
I don't have any immediate answers, but I'll certainly get with the police department. You know, we used to have neighborhood watch programs, which I don't think they really exist anymore. That's something that we may have to start something like that in these neighborhoods. But I will certainly get with the police department, and we can discuss. Be glad to sit down with you all and see what we can come up with.
We need to be more supportive, because I mean, I know that they can't just have somebody sitting in the alley by the Episcopal Church all the time, but it's crazy. So I don't know, cameras, more people, what do we need to do to buff up the area? But we've got to do something, because somebody's going to get hurt.
And Mrs. Hilders, we do want you to know that we are listening to you. We understand what you're saying, and you're not the only one. We've got several other hot spots in Poplar Bluff, and I'm sure the police department's doing what they can, and we will definitely do what we can to try to help. Problems like this don't go away, they move.
Right.
So that's something that we're just going to have to try and work with the police department on, but we do hear you. We are listening to you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Chester Pumphrey? Please state your name and address, sir.
My name is Chester Pumphrey. I hang out at 1119 Spring Street. I rise, and the pun is intended, to speak on discreditation, collusion, and libel. On or about 27 February, an abandoned house at 421 Valley in this town, which was uninhabitable, had been placarded as a nuisance for some time and was the scene of a man's death and another man being hospitalized and tested positive for methamphetamine and fentanyl, as reported in your newspaper as being owned by me. That was an outright lie. I did not own the property. had never owned the property and had no financial interest in it. Any intelligent 12-year-old child could determine from the internet, the recorder of deeds, or the tax collector the facts. There is no reason on God's green earth for the DAR to get it wrong, except to defame, to discredit me. Why would they bother to do that? Pay attention, folks, and I'll spell it out for you. Many are aware that I'm on the ballot to be seated amongst you for the next 3 years. Some time ago, I heard the phrase, quote, better pull out all the stops, unquote. The clique is at it again. There was no legitimate way for the fire department or anyone in the administration to associate me with that property, implying that I was connected in any manner to drug activity or other wrongdoing. It does not take much to sway the mind of the not so well informed voter just prior to an election as to the reputation, character, or integrity of any particular candidate. In this case, a city employee was responsible. Therefore, the city is complacent and in court may ultimately be held liable. I must confess, after I wrote this, I found out that the DR had a retraction on page 4. But everybody knows it's very, very difficult to unring a bell. Now let my paranoia show up a little. I accuse one or more of you in being complacent in this. Thank you. I'm sorry. Being in collusion with it.
Thank you, Mr. Pumphrey. We have Mr. Jim Chrisman.
Hello again. You're getting tired of me seeing me jump up here every meeting, and don't want to do that. But I do want some action on a couple of items that I want to mention this evening. And I would call it under the heading of transparency.
Please state your name.
Jim Chrisman, 464 North Main.
Thank you.
Item BB on the voting agenda tonight is the design of the police station. You have an ordinance or bill to move that forward. It was workshopped at the last meeting. And I will point out that we did not get the bill until tonight. And because it is a voting item tonight, the public is not allowed to comment on that particular thing. That just doesn't seem right. There ought to be public comment on something before it happens. I would take item D on the workshop tonight. It's the City Hall architect. I have no objection to building a City Hall. I have no objection to an architect. But again, it's the same situation. The ordinance is being prepared to be voted on tonight without the public being allowed to speak on it. This is not right, folks. This is just not right. The other item that's on my mind tonight is intimidation. I don't know whether you all consider being intimidated a fact or not, but intimidation is in the eyes of the person being intimidated. And I hadn't thought about it until somebody mentioned it the other night. But when we've got no less than 6 police officers here, that is a bit of intimidation to the public when several of us are speaking against the police station being where it is. I think this is intimidation of the police department, and I certainly would like to see that number decreased. I can understand security, but having 6 or more officers here is beyond security. Thank you for your consideration of this.
Thank you, sir. Item 8, consent agenda. The items on the consent agenda are approved by a single action of the city council. If any council member would like an item removed from the consent agenda and considered separately, he or she may request to do so.
I motion we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 9, workshop items for discussion. A, the city council will review a grant application between the city of Poplar Bluff and the Missouri Department of Public Safety, Office of Homeland Security, for the purchase of an upgraded 911 system. Please state your name, sir.
Patrolman Austin Lemons, 1111 Poplar. Mayor, city manager, members of the council. I'm speaking today on behalf of the Poplar Police Department about a 911 grant that we've been approached with the funding opportunity. I want to give a little background as to the reason why we need this grant. Be the first thing that I want to talk about. The current 911 system that we have in the city of Poplar Bluff is called Positron. It was created in 2008. That makes it 12 years old. Okay, it's to the point where you can no longer buy any support, no technical support. You cannot buy any equipment to upgrade it. So we're basically dead in the water if it ever goes down. Okay, the Poplar Bluff Police Department Communications Division, they are the #1 public safety answering point in the county, with the sheriff's office being the second. And it's one of them things that we have to act accordingly to make sure that the safety of our citizens are put first in this endeavor. A little bit of information about the grant. It's from the Missouri Department of Public Safety, Office of Homeland Security. It is a state grant, but it's federally funded. The maximum federal funding total is $2.4 million, with the maximum agency amount as $500,000. We have received 2 separate quotes up to this point just to kind of get a general figure on how much it's going to cost to get an upgraded 911 system. The numbers are between the $200,000 to $250,000 range. The grant is a 60-40, and what that means is that we would have to match 40% of the total grant amount. So with this being in mind, say we take a $250,000 evaluation, that would put, let me get this right here. On a $250,000, if we get a $250,000 grant, we get approved, that's our project total. The federal funds will be $150,000. We would have to put up $100,000. Just a simple figure there. I know the purchasing policy, that's going to have to be done later, the bids and all of that. But just for the purpose of this grant, I wanted to give some evaluations on that. The grant has to be submitted by March 31st at 1700 hours, 5 o'clock at night. I have until that point to complete the grant and get it submitted before, if I can't do it any after that. So that's the reason why I'm here tonight. A little update. Solacom and Central Squared are the 2 quotes that we have had up to this point. Solacom, they have a base range of $204,810, but they also have a 5-year maintenance plan that you can add into that we would be an option, which would make that about $240,000 and $822. Central Squared, it's actually a subscription-based system. They do $43,000 a year, so the total 5-year would be $215,000. That's where I get the 200 to 250 evaluation on that. So the reason why I'm in front of you, is I have to get your approval, Mayor, before we go and I submit this grant on the 31st. I am well over halfway through the grant, and honestly, it'll probably be completed by the end of this weekend. I'm kind of held off on it today to see if this was going to go or not. But if you have any questions, I'd be willing to answer them if you have them.
Have any comments from the audience, or from the council?
Only to say that we all know technology has to move forward, and it doesn't take long for it to get out of date. We've had that one for a while. And thankful to it that it has lasted as long as it has, but certainly we do need to stay on the cutting edge of things, and it's wonderful that we have the possibility to get grants and help. Make a motion, we move that forward to tonight's voting session, so that he can make the grant date.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, but I do have a comment from the audience.
The new 911 system you're talking about, is this the advanced one that does the texting?
Yes.
Okay. So,
And I
please
can talk
identify
about that for a
yourself.
second if you want to.
I'm sorry.
Please identify yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Robert Durbin, 1609 North 13th Street.
And I can talk about that for a second. Currently, everyone in the United States has to go to Next Generation 911. And what that means is, like Councilman Black already said, technology is changing. If you can only imagine what technology was 12 years ago, that's what we have in our 911 system. And just a quick little example on that part of it, we have latitude and longitude right now, but to get, say you're walking down the road, you call 911, but you can't talk to me. I have to hit a button. It's going to transmit the latitude and longitude. I have to take that into Google Chrome into a separate entity and try to get a ping as to where you're at, okay? But if you're walking, you're going to continue to move. So if that happens, I'm going to have to re-hit the button on the 911 system, get new latitude and longitude, type it back into the system, and I mean it's a rather extensive thing. And what he's talking about with the text to 911, Next Generation, we have a couple of demos coming in this week about the two different people that have done the quotes for us. The text to 911, you would be able to text 911. You can text help, text me your address. I can answer back in an SMS format. But it also does automatic mapping. There's mapping software within the 911 system that where every 7 seconds, it'll automatically populate your location. So if you're driving, I'm going to be able to see where you're at every 7 seconds, and it's going to ping your location, and I'm going to basically have a map to where you are going. And that's something that we don't have right now. We have to remember where the ping was on the last one. So, but yeah, it's got a ton of advanced stuff. And they'll be doing a demo this week just for our communications division to kind of see which one, what the capabilities are on that.
The reason why I rise is because what Ms. Hillis was talking about earlier, the faster response time to be able to respond to 911 text messaging is huge over what they're doing now. So like she was talking about pictures that she saw or whatever, that can be text to the 911 system, whereas you don't have that capability now.
Yeah, right now we cannot take any, it's called TTY. It's a program that if you have a deaf individual, there's certain phrases that they can text back and forth to us. Sorry. Right now it's called TTY. I'm not sure the actual lingo for it, but it's basically they can text different phrases to us. It's very limited. But yeah, with the new systems, you can get multimedia. They can send you pictures. It's just like me texting one of you. You could do everything through the 911 system. So
this has been my argument all along, and all the times I've come up here, I've never been able to come up with the words to explain to you what I felt that the money that we're spending in other places could be better spent on projects like this. There are other programs that we can invest our money into instead of property that, like this, would benefit all the problems that we're having now. So, once again, I would ask for a 30-day delay in the two items.
Sir, you're out of order. We're talking about item A.
Correct.
If you want to speak in favor of that or against it, you may. But you can't just start meandering through the woods on issues that you want to get on camera 3 weeks before your election.
I have no interest in being on camera, sir.
Okay. Stick to item A on the workshop agenda, please.
Lesson learned. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further?
Any comments from the council?
No, I just wanted to thank Officer Lemons for working on this, and it's a great opportunity for the city. So.
My pleasure.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second.
Is that to move to tonight's voting session?
Yes.
Yes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item B, the city council will review a proposal for the property assessed clean energy program. Mr. Winters. I catch you off guard.
You caught me off guard. I'm going to turn it over to an expert. They say an expert, someone from more than 50 miles away, and I believe Mr. Harris. He's with the PACE group, and he's going to speak and explain the details of this program to you.
Okay, thank you. Please state your name and address, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is John Harris. I'm Director of Finance for the Missouri Clean Energy District, which is a political subdivision that was created for the purpose of operating a PACE district. PACE meaning Property Assessed Clean Energy District. This was an authority that was passed through the Missouri legislature in 2010. The Missouri Clean Energy District was established in 2011, beginning of 2011. The purpose of the district is to provide unlimited capital for energy improvement projects, energy efficiency projects, renewable energy projects, solar, these wind, these sorts of things. And the idea of the district is to provide an intergovernmental arrangement where this authority can be carried out in the state without every community having to establish its own body to provide this capital sourcing for these types of projects. So it was understood early on that while every community could create their own authority and do these things themselves, there was a good bit of administration involved in that, and there aren't just a whole lot of towns that want to set up another hobby for themselves, if you will. So the idea of the district is to provide a way for every community in the state to join with the district through a resolution or an ordinance that will establish membership in the district, thereby avoiding having to set up their own board or authority, thereby avoiding any liability for such a program, thereby avoiding any cost associated with care and feeding such a program, and avoiding administrative burden that goes along with all of that. So the district started in 2011, and to date there are hundreds of communities that are members of the district, have joined the district intergovernmentally through ordinance or resolution. And I think we have, well, there's over 50% of the population of the state in the district now. So what this does is it allows property owners within the community to access a capital source that has not been available till now. This capital source is sort of special. It's similar to the capital source that the city would access in the municipal bond market for its projects. That has not been available for private property owners up until now. And the reason it has become available is because this is a public purpose, this idea of everyone doing what they can to save energy, to save money for themselves, to try and encourage renewable energy projects going forward and so on. The money the district has attracted over $3 billion in commitments up till now. And we see that as a really good source of investment in the communities, investment in energy efficiency and renewable energy. And so what we like to see is having local property owners that have a need now, currently, before we come to a city or municipality to say, wouldn't you like to access this capital for your property owners? And then once we have that request, then we show up and say, well, this has been requested by a property owner within your community, in this case a business owner, and once it's established, then it'll be available to everyone else as well. So that's really the rundown of the program. It's capital for this purpose, and I think the key notion that I'd like to get across is that we established the district and designed the district so that it would take on all of this administrative burden, provide the benefit to the communities, but take care of the administrative work itself. So with that, if I've missed anything or you have any questions or issues, I'd be glad to try and address them.
Have any questions from the council?
Nothing.
I don't see anything.
Well,
I guess
Just a comment, it certainly sounds like it could be a benefit to the property owners, and something we'd want to participate, or under sanction, I guess, is more like it what we're really doing, isn't it?
Well, you're joining the district, and you have a say in the district once you join. You would have a person who's named as an elector who helps elect board members and so on. So there's a continuing conversation, but no real duties or responsibilities by the city. So we'd encourage you to consider the bill. I think we've provided a specimen ordinance or resolution for you to consider, and we'd be happy for you to join with us.
Make a motion to pass that to our next workshop. What's the date? 6th.
Voting item.
April 6th.
This is workshop only.
Second.
To our next voting session. You'd think I've been around long enough to learn terminology. Yes.
Second.
Okay. Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Item C, the City Council will review a request from the Sycamore Street Community Improvement District Board of Directors relative to an appointment of directors for a 3-year term. Mr. Mascan.
Yes, this is a community improvement district set up by state statute. It's actually located what I call the old Calhoun's grocery store on the east side, and we're required every 3 years to approve board members, and they have requested that Geraldine Goodman and Amelia Taylor be reappointed to the board of directors, and those terms would expire March 6, 2023. We just asked that be voted or passed on to the April 6th voting session.
So moved. Second.
Any further comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item D, the City Council will consider an amendment to the existing contract for architectural services between the City of Poplar Bluff and Dilly Traxel Architects for the proposed City Hall building.
Yes, as you're all aware, we had a contract with Dilly and Traxel for a police station, City Hall downtown, and now that a different site's been selected for the police station, what we'd like to do is amend the contract for Dilly and Traxel to do the architectural work on the City Hall facility located downtown. There's been several changes in the document. Mr. Pollard is here from Dilly and Traxel if anybody has any questions for the architect.
Would anyone like to address Mr. Pollard? Come, please. Please state your name and address, sir.
I'm Mike Pollard. I'm at 849 Wilcox. How are you all this evening?
Good.
We'll try to make this painless. Won't go into the history. You all know the history of the two projects, how they were intertwined. Mr. Richardson and I have worked extensively and exhaustively to update our contract that once held both the City Hall and the police station and separate it out to just the City Hall. It is a new contract, the same form, but it's the 2017 version because I no longer have access to the 2007 version, so I had to rewrite the contract because I don't have access to the old one anymore. There are some changes to it. The original agreement that was signed in 2016 has a whole litany of police station references in it, and all of those have been cleaned up and removed. The location for the City Hall really puts that back on the City Council once again. We don't make any assumptions as to where it's going to go or where it should go, just that we're going to be the architects. Pretty straightforward. So, yeah, if you have any specific questions, it's a long document, and I've been through them many times, but you guys haven't, so
I looked over it. It's
I'm
long.
happy to answer any specifics to the questions.
Yeah, can you tell us about the rate increase that you're proposing?
The in 2016 we had a 7% fee for the entire complex. In looking just in over the last 5 years that I've been with Dilly Traxel, our fees have gone up accordingly with every project and every client. What I tried to do was to not give the appearance of trying to gouge anybody, but really get a fair market rate for what services we do provide. We are less in a percentage, on a percentage basis, we are less than what you are going to pay for the police station. And we think that it's a fair and reasonable fee. It went from 7% to 8%.
So it went from 7 to 8, is that what you said?
7 to 8, yes, sir.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's see, do we have a motion and a second?
Make a motion to move this to the voting session to be held tonight. Second.
Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item E, the City Council will review a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission for the approval of a proposed zoning designation of RS1 rural residential for property to be annexed at 3392 Canal Boulevard. The property owner is SCORE LLC. The applicant is the Planning Department, care of Matt Winters, City Planner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, as discussed in our public hearing earlier, this property is currently owned by Score LLC. The Planning and Zoning Commission is recommending that this property be annexed. When it's annexed, have an initial zoning designation of RS1 Rural Residential. That was voted on this past week by Planning and Zoning unanimously as their recommendation.
Motion moved at the voting session April 6th.
Second.
Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Winters. Item F, the City Council will review a request for a conditional use permit to operate an independent and assisted living facility for up to 70 patrons located at 3392 Canal Boulevard. The applicant is Neil R. Slattery, AmeriCare Senior Living, 214 North Scott, Saxon, Missouri, 63801. Mr. Winters.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. The AmeriCare Senior Living has requested a conditional use permit to operate an independent and assisted living facility be located on the property that we just discussed about potentially being annexed. The property is currently vacant. It's approximately 9.6 acres in size, and again, it's located south of Canal Boulevard, east of Highway 67 bypass, north of Roxy Road, and immediately west of the Woodland Hills subdivision. The staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of this conditional use permit with the following two stipulations: that the conditional use permit go with the business owner. If ownership changes, the new owner would be required to apply for a new conditional use permit, and that the Planning Department approves the landscaping and screening plan prior to construction of the facility.
Make a motion to pass this to the April 6th voting session. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item G, the City Council will review a request to rezone property from RS2 General Residential to O1 Office Professional for future commercial use. The property is vacant land lying between Katy Lane and Barron Road, lying east of 2700 Katy Lane and north of 2438 Katy Lane, 1.6 acres more or less. The applicant is John D. Barber and the Barber family, Post Office Box 91, Poplar, Bluff, Missouri. Mr. Winters.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As he stated, the owners of this property are John D. Barber, Robert Kevin Barber, Jane Walters, and Roseanne Huck. They are requesting to rezone property to O1 Office Professional from its existing designation of RS2 General Residential. This property does, it fronts Katy Lane and it fronts Barron Road. What they're requesting is to subdivide the property, the parcel that would be then facing Katy Lane be rezoned to Office Professional. The parcel that would be left facing Barron Road would remain as residential. Did I say that right? I sounded like it. Katy Lane would be office, Barron Road would be residential. The designation of this property is O1 Office Professional on the Katy Lane frontage is logical. As property adjoining to the south of Katy Lane is Zone C2. The frontage on Barron Road adjoins RS2 with a long-established neighborhood. To protect the residential character and provide a conforming residential building lot on Barron Road, the south portion would be rezoned to O1 and leave the Barron Road as RS2. The staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission do recommend this request to rezone with the following two stipulations: that the only the southerly 1.6 acres adjoining Katy Lane be rezoned to Office 1, and the north remain RS2. And secondly, that the O1 parcel shall be deed restricted to include a vegetative screen along the property line between the O1 and the RS2 zones.
How does this differ from the last time when we voted it down?
I believe the split is a little more clearly defined, and that's really about it. I think also, testing my memory here. I believe also no, it's fine. It's a good question. The vegetative screen, I do not believe the requirement for that, I don't believe was in the last request.
It was, but the residents at the time did not think it was deep enough.
Okay.
And I just wondered, that's why I was wondering.
We did have, I know that one of the residents that I do remember, I was serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission the last time this came before us as a citizen. I know that John Stannard and some of his family had some opposition to it. After talking with Mr. Barber and reviewing what's been submitted, I know that Mr. Stannard did come and speak in support of it. I've talked to I cannot remember her name, the lady that lives across Barron Road from this property. I've talked to her some. I'm not going to speak to what her opinion is because I'm not just really sure. But we have kept her informed of this process as it's gone along. So I know Mr. Barber is here. I'm not sure if there's anybody else in the audience that's here to speak one way or the other.
You don't remember who the lady was you talked to?
I don't remember her name. I'm sorry. I sure don't.
Okay. Because I know one of the ladies probably physically couldn't be here because of cancer treatment. And I didn't know if that was the one.
I spoke to, the lady that I spoke to was in the office, came in the office within the last week or so. But I don't remember her name.
Okay. Just a question.
Sure, I understand.
Any further
This
comments?
zoning designation that you're referring to, it will stop before it gets to the corner of Barron and Katy Lane, correct?
I don't foresee any more property. That it tapers off there, and so
Right.
really the lots from there on down to the intersection of Barron and Katy. I think that's what you're referring to. Yeah, really the rest of those lots aren't really deep enough to split it, and they're also homes that are situated in such a manner that I don't foresee that happening.
There is a screening portion there already on this lot you're referring to, but it goes deeper into that lot. And you're saying, making reference to establishing a screen there. I mean,
Yes.
what's going to happen there?
So they would be required to plant new
To plant new screening.
a new screen of
And take
mixture of
out that
trees and
existing.
plants and whatnot that would provide a screening between those two differently zoned properties. Yes.
Any further comments from the council?
Make a motion, move this to the voting session April 6th.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item H, the city council will discuss a proposed ordinance implementing a tobacco-free policy for the city-owned outdoor recreational areas.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. I understand some, Mr. DeGaris and I think some other council people had asked for a proposal about not allowing smoking within parks. So working with Lanny at the Parks Department and working with Emily Gooden at the Butler County Health Department, who I'm not going to take much credit at all. Emily provided basically what the sample, the ordinance that you have in front of you, was provided by the Butler County Health Department with a few amendments by talking with Lanny. But what this basically is to not allow tobacco use, smoking, electronic cigarettes are also included in this, vaping, however you want to call it, in parks and in certain parks. So in the ordinance, there's a list of parks that are included: Hendrickson Park, Whiteley Park, Hillcrest Park, McLean, Link, the Skate Plaza, Ferguson Grove, the Black River Industrial Park, and Shelby Trails. as posted.
Isn't that all of them?
Primarily it doesn't include Clinton Park, was not included. Sportsman's Park was not included. As far as the parks that the city Parks Department maintains and owns, that's about the only two. It's about the only two I know of. But
So, in other words, we're talking about all of the parks that may have youth sports.
that's primarily
Or youth
what the Parks
activities.
Department's concern was the athletic fields and the playgrounds. Yes.
Make a motion to pass the voting session April 6th.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item I, are you getting tired?
This is the Matt Winters show tonight. So.
I appreciate y'all having a special meeting just for me.
Throw a little comedy in here.
We're almost done with you.
That's right.
The City Council will review an addendum to the Administrative Services Agreement by and between the City of Poplar Bluff and Ozark Foothills Regional Planning Commission.
I got
Mr.
roped into
Winters.
this, I guess, because of my past work. So this is just a couple changes that were made to the CDBG contract that the city has with the Ozark Regional Planning Commission. The first change is the termination clause that was added. It includes two types of terminations and some language that the Community Development Block Grant requires, some official language of theirs. This clause is to give a better explanation for if the city were to terminate a contract. The second change is the compensation and method of payment clause. It's been reworded to make sure that it's clear that compensation would only occur if grant funding was awarded. It also states that the amount will not exceed the amount of administrative costs that's included in a grant funding approval. So some couple basic, pretty simple and straightforward changes to their contract. And I'm sorry, I can't answer many questions about that, so.
My motion would be moved to the April 6th voting session.
Okay. Okay, we'll wait until Mr. Black returns to the seat. We have a motion and a second on item A. Any further discussion? All, on item I, I'm sorry. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. That concludes our workshop items. Item 10, action required items. AA Bill Number 8216. The City Council will take action on an ordinance selecting an architectural firm and authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for the construction of the police facility.
Motion for first reading of Bill 8216.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance of the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri, selecting an architectural firm for the Poplar Bluff Police Station project and further authorizing the mayor of the City of Poplar Bluff to enter into an agreement with Police Facilities Design Group of Kansas City, Missouri for the construction of the new police station.
Motion for second reading. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance of the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri, selecting an architectural firm for the Poplar Bluff Police Station project and further authorizing the mayor of the City of Poplar Bluff to enter into an agreement with Police Facilities Design Group of Kansas City, Missouri, for the construction of the new police station.
Motion for adoption of 8216.
Second.
Roll call, Clerk Young.
Councilman Black?
Yes.
Councilwoman Parson?
Yes.
Councilman DeGaris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton?
Yes.
Councilman Cornman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes. Bill number 8216 is adopted. Item BB, Bill number 8217. The City Council will take action on an ordinance in regard to a recommendation from the Municipal Utilities Advisory Board regarding an option and lease agreement between the City of Poplar Bluff and New Singular Wireless PCS LLC.
Motion for first reading of bill number 8217.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri to execute an option and land use agreement between the City of Poplar Bluff and New Singular Wireless PSC LLC relating to installing and maintaining a communications facility for the City of Poplar Bluff.
Motion for second reading of Bill 8217.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri to execute an option and land use agreement between the City of Poplar Bluff and New Singular Wireless PSC LLC relating to installing and maintaining a communications facility for the City of Poplar Bluff.
Motion for adoption of Bill 8217.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Clerk Young.
Councilwoman Parson?
Yes.
Councilman DeGaris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton?
Yes.
Councilman Cornman?
Yes.
Councilman Black?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes. Bill number 8217 is adopted. Item CC, Bill number 8218. The City Council will take action on an ordinance in regard to the police union contract.
Motion first reading.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance approving a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Poplar Bluff and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 702 for its employees at the Poplar Bluff Police Department, and authorizing the mayor to execute a collective bargaining agreement between the parties.
Motion for second reading.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance approving a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Poplar Bluff and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 702 for its employees at the Poplar Bluff Police Department, and further authorizing the mayor to execute a collective bargaining agreement between the parties.
Motion for adoption.
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call, Clerk Young.
Councilman DeGaris.
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton.
Yes.
Councilman Cornman.
Yes.
Councilman Black.
Yes.
Councilwoman Parson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes. Bill number 8218 is adopted. Item DD, Bill number 8219. The City Council will take action on an ordinance approving an amendment to the existing contract for architectural services between the City of Poplar Bluff and Dilly Traxel Architects for the proposed City Hall building.
Motion for first reading, bill number 8219. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance amending an agreement with the Dilly and Traxel architectural firm relative to the new City Hall.
Motion for the second reading of Bill 8219.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Counselor.
An ordinance amending an agreement with the Dilly and Traxel architectural firm relative to the new City Hall.
Motion for adoption of 8219. Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Clerk Young.
Councilwoman Horton.
Yes.
Councilman Cornman.
No.
Councilman Black.
Yes.
Councilwoman Parson.
Yes.
Councilman DeGaris.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes. Bill number 8219 is adopted. Item EE. Resolution number 1919. The City Council will take action on a resolution authorizing the mayor to submit a grant application to the Missouri Department of Public Safety, Office of Homeland Security's 2019 Fiscal Year 911 Grant Program.
Motion for reading of Resolution 1919.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Counselor.
A resolution of the City of Poplar Bluff, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to execute an application for a grant from the Missouri Department of Public Safety, Office of Homeland Security, for the purchase of an upgraded 911 system for the City of Poplar Bluff.
Motion for adoption of Resolution 1919.
Second.
Roll call, Clerk Young.
Councilman Cornman.
Yes.
Councilman Black.
Yes.
Councilwoman Parson.
Yes.
Councilman DeGaris.
Yes.
Councilwoman Horton.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes. Resolution number 1919 is adopted. I would like to make a comment before we allow the manager to speak. I would just like to ask everyone at home, here and at home, to be mindful of others when you're making your purchases at the stores. There's no reason to hoard things. just make sure that we have enough to go around to everyone. So in saying that, just leave a little bit for someone else. And we have no, item FF, we have no need for that. At this time, we will allow the manager to give his report.
Mr. Mayor, that was a perfect lead-in for what I was going to discuss, the coronavirus and some of the steps being taken here in Poplar Bluff. We have activated our Emergency Operations Center, which is located at the police department. EMA Director Robbie Myers is manning the EOC. We are meeting once a day with different individuals. Today we met with the health department and several different agencies. Just want everybody to know that we are taking this very seriously. We are asking people, please do not panic. What has come out of these meetings is the best thing you can do is stay away from large crowds. If you're sick, call your doctor, make an appointment to see him or her. Make sure you wash and sanitize your hands as often as possible, and do not shake hands. For now, if you're experiencing symptoms, call your primary care physician. And please rely on a valid news agency, such as the newspaper, radio, television. Don't rely on social media unless somebody has shared a valid news service, because there's all kinds of information going on Facebook and other places, and some of it's just not factual. But as I said earlier, we are taking this very serious. And as somebody said today, this is uncharted territory for all of us. This is not like a ice storm or a flood. It's a different situation. And as things progress, we will definitely keep you updated. On top of that, the Black River Coliseum, the Globetrotters for tomorrow night has been canceled, and they will reschedule. Previously, it was reported that the Ron White comedian in mid-April had been canceled, but it has not. As of right now, they are still scheduled to come. So I would just ask everybody, and as the mayor said, please don't hoard items. And we've been told by Walmart and other stores they're getting trucks in every night and stocking the shelves. Some of them are closing a little bit early, open a little bit late, so they can get those stores stocked, and also to have a deep cleaning of their facilities. So that's all. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer.
Anything further from the council? I hear a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.